Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about Americanah, and it is written by the Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and was published in 2013. The book follows Ifemelu and Obinze from when they're high school sweethearts to their next 13 years that takes them to different countries and continents. Ifemelu moves to America to study and work, and Obinze moves to the UK and moves back to Nigeria. And the book shows us the life experiences of these two characters over the course of the next 13 years and how they grow from these experiences. The book also explores the theme of how much we change as people when we leave home, and it concentrates more on Ifemelu's story and her experiences of living and studying in the US. So Americanah begins with Ifemelu in her early 30s, living in the US and on the verge of moving back to Nigeria, her home country. And the timeline jumps from past to present and sometimes to Nigeria and the UK to talk about other characters' journey as well. But the writing is so perfect and clear that there is absolutely no confusion even when there are so many geographical jumps in the book. It is a story about race and identity as well, and I kind of went into it a little skeptical, hoping that it does not turn into this preachy take on race and immigration, and I'm so glad I was so wrong. I fell in love with the book from chapter 1. It is a story from an immigrant's perspective. And there were so many chapters in this book where I went, oh my god, me too, where I could relate to Ifemelu's experiences in America. For example, there's this chapter where Ifemelu says that she grew up reading Enid Blyton, and I was like, oh my god, me too. I could connect with her because of the connection of India and Nigeria being a part of Commonwealth countries. We have grown up a lot on British literature just like her. And so there are a lot of observations like this that make the book stand out. And there are at least 2 chapters that talk about accents. And that's something no one talks about when they write about books from an immigrant's perspective. They talk about language, learning English, and other things, but never the accent. Chimamanda's keen eye for these simple things are what I enjoyed the most about the book. So when Ifemelu first registers for classes, a girl named Christina Thomas sits at the registration table and she speaks very slowly to Ifemelu. So Ifemelu thinks that Christina has a speech defect until Ifemelu realizes she's talking to her very slowly because of her foreign accent, and Christina thinks that Ifemelu does not know English. So there's a little excerpt from the book that I would like to read. So when Ifemelu realizes that Christina is talking to her slowly because of her foreign accent, it says, Ifemelu shrank. She shrank like a dried leaf. She had spoken English all her life, led the debating society in secondary school, and always thought the American twang inchoate. She should not have cowered and shrunk, but she did. And in the following weeks, Ifemelu began to practice an American accent. So Ifemelu starts practicing an American accent, and she has almost perfected her American accent. And when a telemarketer calls her and he's surprised that she sounds totally American, and Ifemelu says thank you. But when she hangs up, Ifemelu starts to feel ashamed of this. She wonders why sounding American should always be a compliment or an achievement. So after this, Ifemelu decides to stop faking her American accent and she feels more like herself. And I think it's a struggle of every immigrant. We always have this thing about to fake an accent or to just stick to your own English accent. Little things, and I thought this was really interesting. And she also tackles the issue of identity, of being black in America. So Ifemelu realizes for the first time that she is black after she moves to America. So she talks about 2 things here, which again stood out for me, and something that I would have never thought of if it weren't for this book. And this is exactly why I love books, because you go through experiences that you would not go through personally. So she talks about being black as African American in America and being black as an African who lives in America. Ifemelu finds it so fascinating that she has a very successful blog where she writes about her observations, and that gives a lot of insight into race and identity as well. And the book ends with her move to Nigeria and takes the readers again on another journey of can we really go home again? Another excerpt that I would like to read from the book. So this is soon after she lands in Lagos. This is her observation. She says, had it always been like this, or had it changed so much in her absence? When she left home, only the wealthy had cell phones and all the numbers started with 090, and girls wanted to date 090 men. Now even her hair braider had a cell phone, and the plantain seller tending a blackened grill had a cell phone too. She had grown up knowing all the bus stops and the side streets, understanding the cryptic codes of conductors and the body language of street hawkers. Now she struggled to grasp the unspoken. When had the shopkeepers become so rude? Had buildings in Lagos always had this patina of decay? And when did it become a city of people quick to beg? So these are the kind of observations she makes as soon as she lands in Lagos. And she realizes that the home she had in her head is so different in reality. It makes you think about what is home and where is home when you especially move away from a home to a different country. And I thought this book was so relevant because we live in a time where we see people moving to different countries and the concept of home has changed. So yeah, highly recommend this book. It has so many layers to it. So read it if you're someone who lives in a different country other than your home country. You will relate to it obviously on so many levels. And even if you're not, just read it because it's a window into issues of race and culture. So do read it. I highly recommend the book. And it is also definitely a bookshelf worthy book. It's definitely worth it. I give it 4.6 out of 5 because I wish the author had also written about the things that she loved about living in America. Does it make sense? I felt like, she didn't talk enough about the good things about living in America. So yeah, this was my take on the book Americanah. Do leave me a comment and also do subscribe to the Yakka Reviews, and I will see you next week with another take on maybe a book or a movie. I will just surprise you. Thanks for watching. Bye.